The following is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.
All of a sudden in school, I have to vent about this. My classmates started bringing Baby Bell, like the rich Baby Bell cheeses. It was the equivalent of like bringing a charcuterie board to third grade cafeteria.
First of all, this is the perfect platform to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is what I made this podcast for. What's up, besties? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes. And guess what, girlfriend? I am still the second part of that title. We have an amazing episode in store for you today. Today's guest is Brittany Brave. Brittany is an incredibly hilarious comedian, actress, and producer. She's one of my favorite people on and off stage, and I think you'll understand why in this episode. We talk a lot about comedy, growing up as a performer who always wanted to act out, her favorite nostalgic snacks, and we even get a cameo from her mom, which is pretty awesome. This is such a fun and silly episode. I can't possibly wait any longer for you to listen to it. So grab yourself a bowl of cereal or your favorite childhood snack and enjoy my conversation with genuinely one of my favorite people, Brittany Brave. I'm really excited to have you on just because we haven't actually had a real life conversation, you know, because we see each other all the time and we do comedy and all that stuff. But, you know, we don't really get to have these long-winded, vulnerable conversations. So it's kind of nice, you know?
Yeah. It's usually it's cries for help whenever we see each other at comedy shows. It's like, what is happening? Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's fun. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, what is happening? I hate 10 people in this room. I love Mike. What's going on with this show? Why is this woman yelling? And, you know, it's never really, you know, it's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it always is. Why is this woman yelling? Isn't it?
And sometimes I'm the woman yelling and I know that.
Sometimes, which leads me to my favorite introduction that you've ever gotten at a comedy show, which this next female is the most female of all the female comics.
Oh my God. I remember that. That part?
Yeah, dude, I like my wiener went inside of my body when I heard him say that. I was like, this is the stupidest intro.
I could not believe this comic is she's really a female. She's the most female comic. And then I took one of the biggest risks in my career and I said, give it up for your host, the blackest comic I've ever met.
Yeah.
And he was like, huh? And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's it. We're both just accolades here. And, you know, even more than the female thing or any, you know, because that's a whole other issue. It's just such lazy hosting.
Agreed.
Like, it's just lazy. And what does that even mean? Like the most female comic, like.
Well, I mean, it's no different. Yet this is more respectful, but it's no different from clubs and colleges. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you don't have. It's like when you don't have credits, that's what you say, and it's like, but at least that's a little bit more respectful than like the most obvious thing. Like, because nobody introduces me as like, well, he's the most manliest guy that's here wearing a t-shirt. Like,
you know
what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Nobody introduces male comics like that. Like this next guy is a dude and he does comedy. Give it up. Like, because that would be the most redundant thing in the world. And then my anxiety tells me this, and I'm 100% projecting this onto that host. It's his fault. But like when I hear like she's like really a female comic, she's the most female comic. Like my idea is like, oh, like. What is that also a dig about like the shit I talk about?
Sure.
Like, oh, she's a female comic, so get ready for jokes about her, period.
Right.
Or like, or I'm a bitch, or something like, oh, she's one of those female comics who's empowered.
And look, are you all of those things? Yes. But I'm
mostly a bitch. Yeah. I'm the first person to admit it. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm not. Let's put this, don't edit this out. I'm not. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, look at us gabbing like gals. I love this.
We're just two gals. We're just two. Honestly, Pookie, the host, was wrong. You're the most female comic.
I will say this. I'm the most female male comic.
I will agree, and that's a compliment. Yeah. And I'm the most masculine female comic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And like, but that's, you know, and just to put a button on this, which bothers me so much, nobody ever introduces a male comic as like, well, this next comedian's a man, give him a chance.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever says
but like, I almost love it at this point because you sound so dumb as a host when you do that.
Right.
And it just sets me up for success. I've had it before. I've had such crazy intros, and I've been a headliner on a show and had a host be like, we had a really famous person, but they couldn't make it. So we grabbed this girl, go easy on her. And I'm like, that's so disrespectful. I am the headliner on this show. But again, we could go this week. Let's not make the whole episode about.
No. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, look, it's happened to all of us, you know, in some way, shape, or form. That's the beauty of comedy, is that it will always keep you humble.
And everybody's dealt with bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, in various capacities. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is why for the most part, we might not find every comedian funny, but we respect every comedian because we know they've been through it. You know what I mean? Exactly.
It's a brotherhood. Even if you don't like somebody's comedy, exactly what you said, even if your personal relationship was there, you know, at least the people that I know that are actually doing it, mm-hmm. and I know have seen the depths of a bar show, but the heights of an improv show, you know, I'm like, there's an intrinsic understanding here of what it is that we go through. So whenever comedians are mean to each other or kind of overstep that code, it's always sad to me because I'm like, at the very least, we should have a baseline respect for the fact that we're both insane to put ourselves through this.
Right.
So, you know, it is what it is.
No, I completely agree. But I do want to learn more about you just as a human being. And I'm going to ask you a few things that I already know personally, but the audience doesn't know. So I'm going to start with this. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in West Kendall, Miami, Florida. I was born in New Jersey. My roots are in New Jersey and New York. I know, crazy. What a commodity to have Italian people up there, but we are the only Italian people in the state of New Jersey. And I was born up there, but I was raised and went to school and had all of my formative memories in West Kendall, in Miami, and I hated every second of it. So, did not like it at all.
Well, speaking of hating it so much and not liking it or feeling like you fit in, who did you feel the most a kinship with? Like, who did you sit with at the lunch table? Who were your friends growing up?
The nerds, the theater kids. We were never cool. We were never hot. I don't know if you had to put us on the hierarchy. I don't think we were like the nerdiest, you know. Sure. We were the kids who figured out that being smart and funny is actually going to be like super cool.
Right.
Just give it like 10, 15 years. You know, so like we weren't like, we didn't miss social skills or lack social skills per se. We just weren't ever the cool kids because we weren't super hot or athletes or just randomly dubbed cool. We were the kids that were like, we're going to work really hard and be smart and funny. And I think one day everyone's going to realize that's actually cool, you know? So definitely wasn't in the cool club, but you know, I was always like a nerd and I did a lot of extracurriculars and stuff. So I gravitated towards the kids that did that too.
Yeah.
And just were chill, you know?
And when you say nerdy things, I assume, I mean, of course, I assume like scholastically, but then I would also assume theater, you know, things like that.
Yeah. First off, you said the word scholastically and you took me back to the Scholastic Book Fair at school.
Yes.
Yeah. And that used to be my favorite day of the year. So
it's
like
the best day of the year. You go there, you order your books, you get them senior year of high school.
Yeah. The easiest money you could swindle your parents out of. Easiest. Because you're like, I need money. And they're like, for what? And you're like, books.
Yeah.
Freaking books. You know? Yeah. Best day of the year. Yeah.
It was the best day of the year to ask your parents for $20 so you could get Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen books. Was that
my God.
me? But
and Goosebumps and Captain Underpants and
Yeah.
Junie B. Jones, like classics too, and
love
stuff.
this,
And
yes.
oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Scholastic Book Fair was the bomb.com, man. And it was
Yeah.
so this is crazy. I don't know if you went through this. I went to a Christian public school and we had 2 Scholastic Book Fairs. We had one that was made by the regular Scholastic Book Fair.
And those books are banned today.
Right. Well, here's the thing. They wouldn't sell like Goosebumps and stuff because it was like considered witchcraft. And so yeah, I had like Captain Underpants and I had, books like that. But then there was a Lifeway Christian bookstore fair.
Oh,
right?
fun.
Which was like, I mean, was it? But like, it was just like, it was like, get your Bible engraved, like things like that.
I'm like, yeah, it's like Bible. It's like the Bible. And it's also a bunch of books about refinding yourself again, I'm sure too. And like rediscovering your spirituality that are relevant to a very specific class of people now. And that is dads who ruined their lives.
Yeah.
Those dads who broke up their family and ruined their marriage and their lives are reading the books at your Christian book fair now.
Yes.
To like find themselves and restart. I can't believe they let you read Captain Underpants. That's like blatant nudity.
It is, yeah. It is.
That's wild.
Well, that's the thing that's, I mean, you might find this hard to believe, but the nuances in Christianity are ridiculous.
Yeah. You might find this hard to believe, but there's a lot of images and silhouettes of phallic penises in Disney movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that's crazy.
Oh, please. You're talking to somebody who talks about Disney exclusively on stage.
Yeah.
I know about the boner in A Little Mermaid. Like, I know about all that stuff. I know about Take Off Your Clothes and Aladdin. I know.
First things first, how do you not have a boner when you're around Little Mermaid?
I know.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what priest wouldn't have a boner? Am I right?
Well, most of them, because they'd be like, she has too many tits and she's got too many curves and tits. If you can make her a little more young and boyish, then we're on board.
Sure. So. Yeah. Well, that was the thing. He was crushing on Eric. That was, that's what it was.
He was crushing on the sea creatures. Actually.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you were in theater and doing all those extracurricular things, was that kind of your soiree into the stage, like the first time you fell in love with the stage?
Yes and no. Yeah, good question. My mom used to dance and I just was like naturally a weird only child performer. Like my poor parents I'm an only child and I would just subject them to shows that I wanted to put on, and they'd have to sit down and just watch me do God knows what in the apartment when I was like 2, 3, 4 years old. But they were observant, good parents. So I think they realized I think she likes to perform. So my mom put me in dance lessons. So I did a lot of dance recitals and competitions and stuff. So I think that was technically my first bite with the stage. I had good parents that didn't force me into it. Like if I hated it, then so be it. We'd go to soccer or something else, but I didn't. I loved it. And all my teachers said that I loved it. And they were like, that's not a surprise. She's annoying as hell at home. I used to run around and recreate my favorite movies and do all that. And, pretend I was in the movie while it was playing on the TV. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, all the Disney movies, The Little Rascals, The Sandbox, like all of these things. Yeah. Mrs. Doubtfire, all of it. And then, so then when I got into school, I just loved theater and dance and all of that kind of stuff. But I also was the weird, nerdy kid. I'm an only child. I don't know how much that contributes to it, but I wanted to do it all. Which I obviously have a problem with now at 32. But sure. I was class president, but I was in theater and dance. But I was a safety patrol officer, and I also randomly did other shit, bake sale or whatever. So, I was that kid who maybe I think that's where I felt cool or I felt seen and safe was by being busy.
Sure.
As a kid. Yeah.
No, that's a wonderful way of looking at it. I mean, I'm certainly not an only child, but I have that same energy. And I think that just might be just a performer energy. Like you just want to do everything, you know, and especially nowadays, it's really beneficial because now you kind of have to be a 20-sided die. You have to do a little bit of everything, you know, because every actor, I mean, as we've known with the strike, with the acting strike and the writing strike, we've noticed, oh, we need more than just being an actor. Like we need a cell phone business and we need you know, food and beverage license and like all these different things, you know,
all these things. And I just I'm touring a little bit this fall, and I booked myself a good amount of shows in not South Florida.
Sure.
For growth and exposure and everything. And I'm only now finally having an appreciation for all the many hats that I've worn across my life and jobs that I've had and skills that I've acquired, because I don't think I'd be able to pack these shows out and run this career and do what I'm doing had I not kind of liked everything.
Yeah.
And did a little bit of everything. And this is probably the first time in my life that I have the most depth versus, well, I guess I have breadth too of knowledge of things too. But I mean, I'm digging deep with comedy and radio in this career path. And I think I wouldn't be able to do so had I not spent so many years trying to be a little bit of everything.
Sure.
Now it's culminating in a weird way. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. And well, and not only that, like it's also comedy is so, and even being a radio personality or a podcast host, you have to be someone who's comfortable being unapologetically you.
Yeah.
Because when you're an actor, you know, I've said this many times, but it explains why when you watch really good actors on like Jimmy Fallon and why they're so fucking weird. You know what I mean? Because
they're like, I have to be myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why like the best actors are like Joaquin Phoenix or like Leo DiCaprio and like people like that. You're like, who talks like that? Like, you're like, are you a person?
Are you a person? It's weird. Yeah. Because they're not, you know, it's almost not to call actors out, but it's like a form of escapism.
Sure.
Well, all the cinema is and acting is.
That's all it is.
It's escapism for actors and for viewers. Like, I actually think Jerry Seinfeld has a quote that says, the actor builds a career out of wanting to be anything but themselves. Mm-hmm. The comedian builds a career off of being themselves. Yeah. So it's and I love and appreciate and will forever be indebted to stand up for it forcing me to love myself and get to it and find my truth, not to be a throw pillow at Target, find my truth, but get honest with myself. And I think you don't get funny until you get honest. But stand up definitely helped in the self-acceptance realm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Of course. And and we'll talk more about that in a second, but I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit more about kind of nostalgic things for a second. What were your favorite snacks growing up?
Gushers comes to mind immediately.
Sure. Yeah. You weren't afraid that you would turn into a strawberry or something?
No. I was like, ooh, they have more curves than me. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. I loved Gushers. I loved fruit roll-ups. I loved Cheez-Its. Still love Cheez-Its today.
Sure.
I loved Lunchables.
Okay.
That processed crap.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
It's the ham is so wet.
It's so,
like why? Is it so wet?
The crackers are so soggy. It's all bad.
Yeah.
I don't even think they exist anymore. Do Lunchables exist?
Well, here's the thing. Back when we were growing up, and I've said this many times on the show, but I'm willing to tell you.
Yeah.
Like Lunchables commercials were always like, if your mom doesn't buy you Lunchables, she doesn't fucking love you. You know what I mean?
Funny as hell.
And when you really think about it, you're like, what a shit mom.
Yeah.
Just be like, here's your lunch. It's in a box. Like,
yeah. But it was like, oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Like, it's like, that's not a homemade lunch. Like, I actually, now that you say that, I remember that being a point of contention between me and my Italian mother, who prides herself on her cooking. And I better be hungry when I'm not. It just happened last night. I got home from a gig and I'm spending a day or two with my parents and I didn't want my mother's dinner. And there was a weird tension there. I was like, I'm like, I ate already. Sorry.
Right.
She's like, not in this house. So I remember when I would request Lunchables, it was like, you want that crap? And like, all right. Like you could have had a PB&J made just the way you like it, but go eat that synthesized ham over there. But Lunchables was one of the few status symbols in school. Yeah. Like you were cool if you brought Lunchables. You were cool if you had, at least when I went to school, if you brought fruit roll up. Like there were certain snacks and things you could bring that string cheese, like the little bit. All of a sudden in school, I have to vent about this. My classmates started bringing Baby Bell, like the rich Baby Bell cheeses, and that was the equivalent. Out of my dick
with that, yeah.
It was the equivalent of like bringing a charcuterie board to third grade cafeteria. Yeah. I was like, relax, I'm still on string cheese, assholes.
Yeah.
No,
this is first of all, this is the perfect platform to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is what I made this podcast for.
Like I'm thinking about it now, and I was like, why did everybody start bringing like high quality cheese? Like they're like, this is Gouda, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a snobby asshole. Like I have Goldfish and a regular old string cheese. How about that?
Yeah, well, my string cheese has a picture of SpongeBob on it, so eat a dick, Mallory.
Literally, yeah, we hate Mallory. I already don't even know her, but I hate the name. You can, depending on somebody's name, you can hate them. Like you can. Like,
True.
I don't want to meet a Seth. I don't want to meet a Seth. I don't think I'm gonna like him.
Sure.
That's it. You know, Mike's, Chris's, Tony's, Joey's. Yeah.
Sure.
It's the whole Christian Catholic.
That's so funny.
Village people. Never met a Joseph, Tony, or Michael that I didn't like. David, lukewarm on. I don't know. Like, so, yeah. But, it was, but I feel like the cafeteria to this point was like the formative, that's where, because your teachers weren't there as much. So that's where a lot of bullying and bonding went down. And a lot of like, I guess it was like a glimpse into like everybody's home life and socioeconomic status. Like, so that's why the cafeteria as a kid was really like a make or break moment in terms of being traumatic or triumphant, I think.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. And I'm glad we're talking about this. I don't think I've ever actually talked about the dichotomy of the cafeteria, but like, it's so true because when you're young, it really does, like, so stupid, but like, the food that you bring is your status symbol, which is so stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and then in a weird way, you get to find out who the drug dealers are going to become because they're trading with each other.
Yeah. They're bartering. They're like swindling people out of, they're like giving you a fruit cup and all of a sudden you just gave up your Gushers. And then you're like, you said this fruit cup had candy in it. And he's like, psych, bitch. And like, you're like, oh, like what?
It's the worst. Yeah.
Or do you remember like the pencils in school?
Yeah, of course.
And they were like a quarter or something. Like at my school, they were in the cafeteria and they were like the shiny pencils and erasers. And like, I think for me, those kids were the drug dealers.
Sure.
They would mass buy all the pencils and then they were like upcharging and then they'd get in trouble. But now I'm like, oh my God, they were brilliant.
Yeah.
Like,
That was like, that was our version of like Bitcoin was like buying like, and I always say this too, like Beanie Babies were like stocks for moms. Like it's like back in the 90s, things were more tactical, but it's the same thing as it is now.
If you liked Beanie Babies a lot and you were a girl back in school, like now, you know, you love pumpkin spice.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You love those like paisley kind of tacky, but whatever, Lululemon backpacks and stuff. Yeah. Like it's very indicative of all these things. But yeah, like I remember, I don't know why, but like in the cafeteria too, there was a weird tension with bringing your food or buying your food.
Right.
And if you still brought your food, unless the food you brought was like banging,
Yeah.
like you were a little bitch.
Yeah.
Still, like, why are you still packing a lunch? The rest of us are cool, and our parents give us lunch money, and we get cheese sticks and a bunch of things that are not healthy and good or whatever. But I remember that. I used to feel like a nerd still bringing my lunch. And then it's so funny how things become full circle, because now at 32, packing your lunch to go to work is like just responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And like healthy. Yeah. And meal prep is a whole thing. Yeah.
I'm sure it's all come back even for kids, because like school lunch doesn't seem all that fun anymore either. Like they don't have school pizza like we did. Like more than likely, especially now, because like now culture is so like, because back, not to be mean, but like this is just what it was. Like I'm just showing a mirror to who we were when we were in the 90s. Like if you were different, it was like frowned upon, to where it's like now being different, it's like
it's the coolest thing ever.
I've never seen that food before. What is that? As opposed to like, ew, you don't have a turkey sandwich like me, like, which
right, like bullshit, your mom is Italian and made like stuffed peppers and you could bring one to school. Like that's so cool. Right. Yeah, that is true. And I guess it kind of gives me a silver lining about society a little bit. But yeah, kids would be ruthless with that. Like if something was cool and everyone decided that was the thing, if you just weren't doing the thing, you were immediately. But now I guess it's different. Yeah, it's being different. There's a curiosity.
Yeah, it's so funny how marketing made us we were so susceptible to like shitty marketing. Like that's really what it was. Cause like, I mean, I don't really watch kids television anymore, but like when I would watch it, especially when my sister would watch it, I remember like every commercial on Nickelodeon was like about some green food where it's like, oh, you don't like ketchup? Well, it's green now. Like it's like, oh my God, like what is this?
Now it's cool, and now you're like, that's disgusting. There's food coloring in your ketchup. Why are you eating slime?
Yeah, it's
literally
disgusting. Yeah,
I will say, like to my friends who have kids or like my coworkers that have kids, I still think that like hopping on a trend thing is still a thing for sure. But I would say that I think you do get made fun of less for being different now. But I mean, I never was following the trends in school. Like I remember Hollister and Abercrombie becoming really popular, and that divided the whole school. Like who was able to afford that and wore that and who didn't. And I do remember like begging my mom for it, and thank God my mom like knocked sense into me, like this is overpriced crap that like kids in Indonesia are dying and making. Like no, like but at the time, like I remember just these little things that our classmates make status symbols, that probably why we're both comedians nowadays, because we didn't subscribe to it.
It's so funny to think about, because going back to even the 70s, dude, it is all about a polo with a stupid animal on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is this $100?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's niche and weird, and but also like and even how everything comes full circle again, and so many of these trends come full circle. So it's just all the more reason to like encourage individuality, because one person dubbed something as cool. Well, I don't think you're cool. Who cares? Like, exactly. So yeah.
Love it. We like to talk about cereal on this show.
Okay.
What were your favorite cereals growing up? Are you still a cereal fan? All that kind of stuff.
I don't do cereal all that often. And if I do now as an adult, I do dry cereal.
Yeah,
which
same.
Probably makes me, I just snack on it. But I don't do it that often. And I do like healthier cereals now. The cereals that my mom and my dad wished I'd liked growing up. I liked Fruity Pebbles. Mom, what other cereal? Let's get Karen in on this.
Sure.
Which one? What other cereals did I like?
Grape nuts.
I did?
Oh, you liked it on yogurt.
When I was a kid? let's say like your upper teens. When I was a teen, I'm learning this about myself.
You used to like to put little pieces of a tree, apparently. Because
you heard that?
I heard
I
grape
used to
nuts.
put grape nuts on top of yogurt as a teen. I was that annoying teen that was like,
I just shit my
kids.
pants hearing about that, by the way.
It's just what?
I just
Shat
shit
your
my
pants? Yeah.
hearing that.
Yeah, I know. I know. My mother just had grape nuts and I was like, I'm about to have diarrhea.
Right?
Like, it's like mind over matter. I mean, that just goes to show you who I was in school.
Yeah.
Like all business all the time.
Well, and as people know, grape nuts is the most business class cereal.
Grape nuts is like the guy who owns, like, grape nuts is just reminds me of someone who owns a car dealership.
Yeah.
Like that's what they have for breakfast every day. But that was me in school. Like I was like, okay, you kids go ahead and have your candy and cheese sticks for breakfast. I'm going to be opening up an LLC by noon. And I need energy for that. So here's my grape nuts and yogurt. Like, no wonder I wasn't that liked in high school. Like,
here's
what the hell?
And Trix yogurt that I'm going to mix the flavors.
Yeah. Oh, I like Trix as well, too. I did like Trix.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my cheat food was mozzarella sticks. Rice Krispies. Yeah, I liked Rice Krispies.
Yeah,
and frosted shredded wheat. We said frosted flakes, though.
That was everybody loves frosted flakes.
Not everybody loves frosted flakes. I'm glad my mom is the second guest now on the podcast.
No, this is beautiful. We love a mom guest on the podcast.
She's funnier than I am. So, frosted flakes for me, I think, and Honey Nut Cheerios, to wrap up your cereal question, have transcended the times for me.
Well,
yeah.
I think, and this is the reason why those cereals transcend the test of time, because it's like right on the line of like, I'm doing something that's good for my body, but also I'm having a little fun.
Yeah, which is adulthood personified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like regular Cheerios is like, it's like eating a guitar. Like, what are you going to do that for? You know, but
how we haven't sued them in their marketing is beyond me, because they single-handedly try to act like as if having a handful of fucking Cheerios is going to prevent you from having heart disease. It's like, relax. You have to do other things to not get heart disease.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not like magical. Like some guys like, I don't want to diet. I'll just like face fuck a handful of Cheerios in the morning and that'll stave off all my cholesterol. Like, no, you still have to do the other stuff too.
Well, and it's also, you know, to bring it to another thing, Jared from Subway was very much like, hey, if you eat Subway, you're going to lose weight.
You'll lose a ton of weight.
And it's like, no, if you eat Subway, you're going to probably have child pornography in your house.
Exactly.
So don't eat Subway.
Slippery slope. That's funny. That's a funny bit. You're like, and then we all learned the hard way that if you eat Subway, you actually don't lose weight. You go to jail for child pornography.
You obtain child pornography in your house.
And now that you think about it, any man that likes Subway subs that much,
any person,
child pornography. I mean,
I think a possum by the third day would be tired of it. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's not good. And also never trust a fast food restaurant or any restaurant that even forget what it does to your body or how it makes you feel. I smell like Subway for days after, even if I just walk by one. It's weird. Yeah.
Pete Holmes has the best joke about Subway, which is like, why does everything taste like the restaurant smells?
Yes. Yeah, no matter the cheese, the lettuce, no matter what
the receipt, the Diet Coke, everything tastes like Italian herbs and cheese. Why?
You don't even need to go inside of a Subway. You're just in like a 50-foot radius and a door opens and you're like, well, fuck, I had a first date tonight, so I hope he doesn't smell my hair.
Hope he doesn't think I work at Subway.
or at this point, eat it at all. You're like, no, I just walked by one on my lunch hour. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
And also Subway, I was about to say the charcuterie at Subway. That's being far too generous. That's way too kind. Yeah. The cold cuts at Subway are like a step above Lunchables. They're made in the same factory.
100%. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's all wet turkey. That's all it is.
And I think you're eating a dog still, I think, at the end of the day or something.
sure.
You're eating something really questionable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, usually on this episode, I like to review a box of cereal with my guest. But before we do that, we have to take a little break. So let's take a small break and we will be right back. Pardon the brief interruption, besties, but me and my buddy Alf just wanted to talk to you about Childlike Wonder. Childlike Wonder is the official merchandise store of Mike Valdes and of Childlike at Best. As you can see here, there are some shirts with my face on them that say Comedy's favorite cartoon, as well as the Viewmaster collection, which is one of my favorite designs that we have. You've seen me rock many a t-shirt from the Viewmaster collection. Another is some of the church merch that we have. We have a shirt that just says church camp. We also have a crew neck that says unspoken prayer request, because as good Christian kids, we all had those unspoken prayer requests that were definitely rumors about Stacy or whatever person we knew growing up in the church. I'm so excited about this collection, and I'm so excited to release it to all of the besties. So if you want to support the show or support me in any way, please just go to childlikewonder.co and grab yourself a tee or a crew neck and tag me on Instagram. I'll repost you. I'm super excited for you guys to get into this. This episode is also brought to you and will always be brought to you by our good friends over at the Crunch Cup. If you are a day one Childlike at Best listener, you know about the Crunch Cup. The Crunch Cup is a portable cereal cup that keeps your cereal crunchy. It's a tumbler that separates your cereal from the milk, which is amazing and such a great advancement for us cereal lovers, because I am an anti-soggy cereal person personally. In fact, so much so, they actually have a crew neck that I'm really wanting to get called the Anti-Soggy Cereal Club. You can get crunch clips for your cereal bag. You can also get a bowl to separate milk from your cereal, or you can just have chips and salsa if that's what you want. To purchase the Crunch Cup or any of the Crunch Cups merch, just like this amazing crew neck I was talking about, go to thecrunchcup.com and use promo code MikeValdez10, as you can see right here, MikeValdez10, to get 10% off of your order. Support your love for the show and be a part of the Anti-Soggy Cereal Club by going to thecrunchcup.com and using promo code MikeValdez10. Thanks to the Crunch Cup for always being such a supporter of Childlike at Best. Now back to the show. I'm going to start with the one that I was going to do just because I thought it was funny.
Okay.
I don't know if do you know about the brand LOL Surprise?
No.
Well, apparently
because my whole life is LOL Surprise.
That is all the rage with the kids. They have a cereal now called LOL Surprise. Apparently, it's these three little girls or whatever they are, and but I don't. The only reason why I chose this cereal is because it really described you as a human being to me. Because this is, if I could describe your comedy without any words, this is no words. Okay. This is no words, just me describing you when you're on stage. This is you. Ah! It's like you're laughing, but then I'm scared for some reason.
That's exactly where I want people. Amused. She's funny.
Yeah.
But also, my guard's up a little bit. LOL Surprise is quite literally my comedy. Actually, when you put the box on the screen, I said, that's my life every day. Yes. LOL Surprise.
It's an LOL Surprise. The other cereal, I wanted to show you. I don't have it because it's not real. But I will show it to you here. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Cereal is actually being made in real time.
It is being made in real time.
For our listeners, we spoke about goldfish. Yeah. Then I walked to my mother's cabinet, and she had 2 bags on deck because she knew I was coming, and I have the palate of a 7-year-old.
I love it. So the name of this cereal is called Loopholes cereal. It's the only cereal with tampons and pads in every box. Now,
is this a real cereal?
This is not a real cereal. It is a marketing campaign, and this is why I wanted to show it to you. It's a marketing campaign. It's like a creative way to get people to sign a petition that tampons and pads should be provided by the government, which is a wonderful thing, you know?
They should be provided by the government. Birth control should be
Exactly.
free,
yeah,
and accessible. But that's a conversation for maybe another podcast another time. But let's not make this about reproductive rights. Let's stick to this.
Yeah.
Putting toiletries in cereal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting derailed.
No, it's fine.
Obviously.
I mean, at the end of the day, that was kind of the purpose. I mean, there.
LOL surprise.
Yeah, LOL surprise. That was the surprise part of the cereal review.
You know what I do see it being really helpful for? Mom has to go to work, has a big fancy 9 to 5. Dad is stuck getting the kids ready for school in the morning. Oops, one of his daughters got her period for the first time.
Yeah.
Mom's nowhere to be found. Grandma's nowhere to be found. He shoves his hand into a loophole cereal box.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, tampon and pad. Calms his daughter down. Avoids the top.
We just made the best commercial of all time.
Yeah, you hear me, loopholes.
This is the
Let me be
greatest
clear.
commercial of all time.
I don't love the partnership. It's a stretch. But if they're looking for influencers to back the brand, I am the person to do it.
Sure. But you're absolutely right, because it really is something that a dad would do.
Like,
He's a clueless dad. You might as well just call the cereal "Oops, Mallory's got her period." Like,
yeah, literally.
like,
oops, Dad has to have the sex talk.
exactly. Like,
So
mom's
he's just
at
like,
work.
I don't want to make breakfast.
Yeah.
Just take this box of cereal. And here, you're going to school. You're probably going to need some tampons, right? You're ready. And then the mom comes home and is like, what did you do?
Oh my gosh.
Funny.
This is great. Well, believe it or not, I really do have a cereal that I want you to review.
Okay.
That is a real cereal.
That was my first question, Mike. I was like, no more fucking made up cereal.
This is yeah, this is
The last one can't be topped.
yeah, it can't be topped. So I spoke with my sponsors over at OffLimits. Usually I have a joke that my sponsor is not really a sponsor. However, with this episode, they actually are my sponsor. So
shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to OffLimits. OffLimits is a wonderful cereal company that you can get at eatofflimits.com, or you can get them at Target. And this is their strawberry cereal called Spark. Now,
I thought that said spank.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can spank Spark if you'd like, but
she looks like she wants a spanking.
Yeah, that's what the text message is about, apparently.
Yeah, she's like, you up?
But yeah,
I have cereal.
One thing that I wanted to, that one thing that I would say about this cereal that reminds me of you is that she seems like a girl boss for sure. Like, because she's on her phone and she's like, I'm getting my stuff done. You know what I mean? And also, like, she looks she's on the run, you know, so there's always that. And in the back here, there seems to be some adult coloring page. So they definitely know.
Fun.
Yeah, they know their audience for sure. So what I would like to do, because this is a very interesting product in that they make their own cartoon characters. However, they do not have voices for their cartoon characters. So I thought that it would be fun for us to, or for you specifically as Spark, to tell the besties or the listeners that they can get OffLimits Spark at Target or at eatofflimits.com or wherever they want to do that. So, and
I can totally do that. I would like to jump in and say, with all respect and love to OffLimits cereal and products, she looks less like a boss bitch and like the girl in the friend group who's like, I just decided, like, I don't need to take my antidepressants anymore.
Sure. Yeah. She's the
she's just
female Evan Hansen. Yeah.
She's just like, living.
Yeah. She's the female
She's
Evan Hansen.
Yes.
I love it.
And like, I cries easily, but I love her still. She's very cute. Let's do this.
Well, and that's the thing. I want you to get into character. So whoever it is that you think this person is, that's who I want you to be. And this is going to be great. I'm going to put some music on. It's going to be really, really fun. This is Off Limits Spark, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, girl. It's Sarah. Sparky Sarah. How my friends call me. People think cereal's whack. I think that's whack. Cereal is the perfect way to start your busy day. Through your meetings, through your calls, through your shopping sprees, through your breakdown. Put a little spark in your breakfast and a little spark in your step. Don't let the haters tell you that's toast. Have off-limits spark strawberry cereal.
Yes. Love it. Off-limits spark cereal, ladies and gentlemen. They said it couldn't be done. They were probably right, but we did it.
They said it couldn't be done. We ignored them. We plowed ahead.
We plowed ahead and we made a commercial, even though they desperately asked us not to.
So they were like, this is doing a disservice to the brand. You're welcome.
You're welcome. So
Yes, queen.
I love it. I'm
Googling these cereals, by the way.
Please do. Yeah. I will say this, Spark strawberry cereal is legit really good. That's,
is it really?
Yes. And had I, believe it or not, I actually wanted to get you a box of it, but I just couldn't not eat it. So I ate it before I got it to you.
It's irresistible.
Yeah, it's irresistible.
Like Sarah.
It's easy peasy. It's Sarah.
It's Sarah. You know you're on keto, so you can't have that strawberry frozen yogurt. So get your fix with Spark.
I love it. I want to talk more about what you're doing now and all that stuff. I want to talk about just comedy, and I believe that we talked about this before. Did you start doing improv first and then went into stand-up?
Yes, I started doing improv first, and then I started comedy.
Sure.
The slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, yeah.
No, I love improv.
I did the same
I'm
thing.
a huge fan of it.
Yeah, one of my biggest problems with improv was that I was too funny. But
always.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you should start stand-up, when the teacher's like, Mike, stop making a joke.
Yeah, this isn't a comedy theater. And I'm like, why does it say comedy on the wall?
I taught improv for a brief period of time in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I built out my own 6-week intensive because I just think, with all due respect to all of the big schools, I did them. I paid for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're overpriced crap.
Sure.
But so I took kind of the best from all of that, plus my own philosophy, and did my own course. And I was one of the teachers that I would tell my students, like, that shit's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I understand the skill set of improvisation. It doesn't need to be funny. It can exist in music. It can exist in speeches, TV, acting, whatever. But I mean, for the most part, people enter improv classes trying to make people laugh.
You're right.
So I never understood that.
Yeah.
Getting penalized in improv classes for you would kill in a form, and then your teacher would be like, you didn't really support really well.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what? Aren't I here to make people laugh? But yeah, I did improv for many, 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 many years, and sketch, and swore I'd never start stand-up.
It's funny.
And here we are.
It's funny that you say that, because, I've been wanting to tell you this for quite a while. You and I, at least in the entertainment space, have such a similar story, in that I started in music just like you did, which a lot of people don't know about you. You started on the business side, and I was in the performance side of it. And then I started improv as well, and stand-up was always something that I loved, which is why I always say this, and I'm sure you can agree. It's that I didn't find stand-up found me, because like,
I would agree.
yeah, because like I only did it because I felt like I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, so that's basically why I started it, and so like, with improv, it was funny how you were saying like, oh, well, you didn't really support this person. And I know this is a fake scenario that you were building, but one of my biggest issues with improv was I never felt supported in anything that I did, because I was being weird or I was being whatever. And I just didn't trust people, and because of that, people were like, you'd be really good at stand up because you just have to trust yourself,
Yeah. And usually the person who knows their voice the most and knows themselves the most and has the strongest sense of humor ends up feeling that way in an improv ensemble.
Sure.
And carrying the form and carrying the game. And then again, getting weirdly hand slapped for doing those very things.
Right.
And then, I do think in those ensemble scenarios with improv, you can get held back a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, good on both of us. But yeah, stand up 100% found me.
Yeah.
Like it's the kind of weird thing, like whenever people want to start comedy and they think like, oh, I'm thinking of doing an open mic and starting stand up. I'm like, just start with like, it'll find you if that's what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but there's a common thing in all of us that do stand up and are good at it. And I don't know what it is. I joke that it's trauma.
Yeah.
But it finds you. And then all of a sudden you're like, I have to do this. This insane thing. Improv's not that insane. Stand-up's insane.
Well, because really improv is no different than being in a band. Because when you have, yes, you are being vulnerable when you're singing a song, but at the end of the day, and I've used this analogy before, the thing that I love about music and the thing that I love about stand-up is the opposite is like the pro of one is the con of the other, which is the pro of music is that you can play music and you can play whatever you want and everyone will respect you and love you, right?
Because you're immediately doing something that they can't do, play an instrument, sing.
Right. And that's and that's also the con. You can sing a song for 8 years and not realize it's a bad song because everybody's just amazed that you have a guitar in your hands. You know what I mean?
And you're hiding behind a melody.
Yeah.
Too. It's where with stand up,
yeah, you'll find out immediately if it does or doesn't work. That's the pro and the con. Is that you find out immediately if you're good at it. You know what I mean? Like, and
your creative process has to be in front of people. And I don't think people realize how delicate and fragile a creative and writing process is. And you quite literally have to do it in front of people.
Yeah.
In order to know if it's good. If you're a musician, you can write a song and privately send it to a couple people and see if they vibe with it. Or like you said, if it's a decent melody and it's not a complete train wreck, people will bob along and get lost in it. Not quite the same. And people don't have an understanding for stand-up. So sometimes when they see comics doing new material, they're immediately like, that person sucks and it's funny. And I'm like, you don't even know what goes into this.
Yep.
Like,
which is so funny because as a comedian, I love it when I get to see comedians, as the audience would say, suck, because I see it as like, I'm getting to watch these guys work out. Like, I'm getting to see people that are like, on TV work something out, and then in a year I'll be like, man, I remember when this was bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's like but you have to really understand and appreciate the art to see it that way, though, to be able to be like, how cool, I saw your process and how to flesh it out. But unfortunately, most common goers at comedy clubs are like, make me laugh, monkey,
right?
And don't say anything I disagree with,
right?
And I can yell at you, but don't you dare engage with me. So
right. it's not that you get heckled, like you see in movies where it's like people are like, you suck or this and that. It's that people are just annoying. Like, and you're just trying to get through a bit, and you can't think of words because you're like, why is this person yelling right now?
Yeah.
And like, and that kind of thing. I mean, so much so that like it's, and I think this is a common thing. I say this on stage. You've seen me say this many times before, where like someone will scream and I'll be like, oh, what was that? And then they don't say anything, of course. And then I'm always like, hey, like, just so you know, I'm not your TV. When you speak, I hear you. Like, which is like kind of my funny way of being like, hey, could you shut up for a second? Like,
yeah, this isn't Netflix. If you fart, I can smell it.
That's a way better joke.
I'm right. That's actually Irene Morales.
Oh, yeah?
Says that on stage.
That's amazing.
And that's why I was like, I'll give her credit. But it's true. Like, it's like and they're the ones who break the fourth wall.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're like, you just ruined this.
Yeah. It's so
completely. It's
so weird, man. No, but I love it.
I do think there's a part of us that should suffer, though.
Of course. Well, it's
we're jesters.
It only look at the end of the day, these kinds of shows only make us better for when we have a great show, because it feels like we're not doing anything.
Yeah, because it makes sure that you go into those other better, bigger shows with your guard up, because you know how it can go.
Yeah.
But they're a better, bigger show. So once you're out there and you're like, oh, God, now I can really have fun.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad I went through hell at that bar show last week, because it put me on edge and in the right headspace. I'm prepared and ready tonight.
Yeah. No,
for this sold out show at the Improv or something.
Exactly. It's wonderful. So I have just a couple last questions here for you. I know you have a heart out, so I'm trying to get you out of here as quickly as I can.
And a heart on as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's me, but that's just me all the time.
That's comedy.
It's isn't it? LOL surprise. So
yeah, let me just go whip it out somewhere.
These last series of questions, there is no wrong way to answer them. You can answer them in a comedic way, you can answer them in a vulnerable way. There's no wrong way. So
both equally vulnerable.
Yeah, whichever you'd like. And that first question is, what advice would you give to your younger self if you were to meet them right now?
Allow yourself to make mistakes.
Okay.
They're okay. Because you're going to put too much pressure on making mistakes. And you're going to make a lot of really big ones.
Mm-hmm.
And never say that you won't do something, or that you never trip up in a certain way. Because that's a pretty much big guarantee that the universe is going to smack you right down.
Right.
Never say never. Okay. But I wish I gave myself growing up grace. I struggle with that a lot now as an adult.
Right.
Trying to give myself grace and then in turn give other people grace. But I think that ultimately still stems from your ability to give yourself wiggle room, slack, grace, humanity.
Yeah. That's a beautiful answer. Now, this is the ultimate question here. What do you think that version of you would think of who you are now? Would they be proud of you? Would that nerdy girl that you were talking about before, would she think that you're cool now? What would she think of you?
She'd probably think I'm cool.
I agree.
Yeah. She'd probably come to me when she needs an abortion. And I'd be like, don't worry, I got you. I know a guy. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think younger me would think I'm awesome. Now, I don't think younger me would have thought publicist me was awesome.
Sure.
They would have been like, you're boring.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, but like at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're right. Like there's younger me would think certain aspects of me was boring too, but sometimes you have to make those mistakes to get to where you are,
Oh yeah. I think younger, judgier me who had everything together on paper would probably look at some aspects of my life now and be like, get it together.
Right.
But I think baby Brittany, the child version of us,
yeah,
which is the purest version of us, the realist version of us would think I'm really cool.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Brittany Brave, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you this all the time, and I'm going to tell you on the record. It is such an honor to be your friend. You are one of the greatest people that I know. I mean, you're just as amazing on stage as you are in my personal life, and I cherish every moment that I have with you as a human being on this earth. So, given all that,
Mike didn't mean any of that. That was sponsored by OffLimits cereal.
I actually read that off of my computer.
For the record, I feel the exact same times 100 about you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I honestly, we text these things to each other all the time, actually.
Yeah, we're pretty gay for each other.
Yeah, we're pretty gay for each other in like the most heterosexual way, or I don't know,
platonic, like we're
platonic way. That's what it is. Yeah,
you are a light in this black hole of the universe.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like that's why I love you and I admire you so much as just a performer and as a friend. And I want everyone to know that about you. And another thing I want everyone to know about you is where they can follow you online and where you're coming to if they're near any place that you're going to be performing, where they can see you.
Brittany Brave on Instagram, Brittany Brave Comedy, TikTok, Brittany Brave on all of the things. My website is now BrittanyBrave.live because someone stole my BrittanyBrave.com domain, and it is a weird Korean betting / potentially sex trafficking website.
Yikes.
I shouldn't say Korean, Asian. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah.
We're working on it. I will be in South Florida, Tampa, Boca, Rochester, New York City, LA, Naples, Boston, Phoenix, Memphis, Chicago.
BrittanyBrave.live. BrittanyBrave.live. Get those tickets. Make sure you go. I promise you, without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm not reading this off of my computer, she is one of the greatest comedians you'll see. Please go to her show if you have a chance. You're going to laugh. And if you don't, ask her for your money back. And she will give it back to you.
And I will put a Lunchable in your face.
Yeah, she'll slap you with a Lunchable's ham.
But just the meat. Yeah.
This has been so fun. Real quick for me.
And if you don't laugh, LOL, surprise.
I mean, honestly, if this is just my opinion, if you don't laugh, you don't have a sense of humor. But like that's just what I think.
In general, with everybody and everything. But
exactly. Yeah. Real quick for me, you can find me on Instagram at Mike Valdes, at TikTok at official Mike Valdes. You can go to thekidfromup.com until Disney sues me for that domain name to find all of my details on everywhere you can find me. And yeah, other than that, just keep telling your friends to listen to this podcast and watch it. Thank you guys for checking us out. And please do not lose your sense of childlike wonder. Bye, besties.